Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm at the Jets in Capital event. My first time here. Let me tell you, it has been absolutely amazing. And my guest on the show today, Adam, man, you can't go wrong with Adams. Adam Campbell, welcome.
Well. Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, so first off, I've been really enjoying this event. It's my first time to the event. How did you get involved? Like, how many times have you been here?
Oh, I've actually been to about 3 events now since it started, and some of the original founders of the organization were great friends of mine. I've known them for almost 15, close to 20 years now. So I've been following and watching, and they just put on such fantastic events and have great opportunities to network and connect with people that I don't miss out on a chance to be able to jump in and kind of enjoy the community and the crowd.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about attending?
Favorite part is the community organizers have a great opportunity to bring people together from all walks of life. So they've got people who are fundraising, people who are allocators, family offices, a lot of people who are going through and doing IPOs for companies. And the cool thing is they've just got good people overall. So a lot of people that just want to socialize with other people in the community.
Yeah. So your company, Fund Launch Partners, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, so Fund Launch Partners came about from an incubator of emerging manager funds. And what the founders found years ago is if you ever wanted to start a fund, you kind of had to go from like a Blackstone huge allocator and be able to peel off and have your Ivy League degree and do something to be able to pull all that money and start a fund.
Yeah.
But if you're a really good asset manager, you've done multifamily or different private equity or venture capital, or even if you're a great hedge fund trader, there was like no school to be able to start off and actually launch a fund. So they went through, figured out some different opportunities and built a program called Fund Launch. And Fund Launch today, it's been around about 5 years. It's been able to help hundreds of clients been able to put together a fund and effectively manage a micro startup fund and hopefully get to the point where you're not just an emerging manager, you're a larger allocator in the area.
Where's kind of like the base level on something like this? I'm curious. So you've helped hundreds at this point. Like, what does it start at? What is obviously the goal is as much as possible, but where does it start at?
It usually starts with somebody who's got probably a decade of experience. They've done 3 or 4 full cycle deals. They've gone out and fundraised from their friends and family. It's kind of we see that a lot, that there are people who are willing to go out and ask grandma or uncles or friends or neighbors and just say, look, I got a great deal and I got to share it. And I know I can do that with your guys' help. And so they'll bring in a lot. So a lot of these people have raised 3 or 4 or 5 million. They've done it for a decade. They've got experience, and they're willing to work with a team. They understand that there's stuff they know and there's stuff they don't know, which is very different than a lot of asset managers. You see some that they look at it and go, I'm the shiz, and I'm just going to run this thing. These guys look at it and go, I think I'm missing something because I can't raise any more money from friends and family, but I don't want to deal with securities compliance.
It's almost like they hit a ceiling on knowledge and on what they're doing, and they were successful at that. They demonstrated, and they're like, how are these other people doing it? Like, what are they doing, or what do they know that I don't know? Am I off on that?
No, that's spot on. So usually what happens in kind of the progression of it is they hit that wall, they look at it and say, I don't want to deal with securities and investors and reporting. I just want to do the assets. And when they come into Fund Launch, it's kind of nice because Fund Launch puts everything in a box for them. So like third-party admin, accounting and finance, fundraising, like investor reporting, and they look at it and say, look, the best thing we can do is help you do more assets. Like just do what you love doing, and we're going to take all this stuff that's systematized and processed, kind of can it, and help pop it in your pocket so that you can run a successful fund that's working with assets rather than doing these individual one-off deals. And that's where Fund Launch came. And I mean, now they've helped over $4 billion come into different assets from all their different clients that they've had. So it's been a really successful endeavor over the years.
That's a big number.
It's quite big.
Where do you see it going? Like, give me some next steps. I know.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going?
They have about 100 to 150 clients come through on an annual basis. So that's
annually.
That's a lot of them.
That's a lot. How many apply? I mean, it's probably much more.
Quite a bit, a lot. I mean, Bridger Pennington, who's the founder of the group, him and his partners, Mason Brands and Lincoln Archibald, they're fantastic guys to work with. They're fantastic partners. And they built a pretty good system for it. And what we realized over the years,
$4 billion. I mean, come on, something's working. I'm saying.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, what ended up happening is for Fund Launch, they helped all these managers launch, and there were many times that the managers would come to Fund Launch and say, you know what, I'd love for you guys to stick around. I've got it launched. I need some advising. maybe a little piece of their business they didn't quite have nailed down.
Yeah.
They said, hey, will you guys just step on and be advisors? We'll give you some minority interest and some shares, but we just want you to keep working with us. And Fund Launch said, nah, we'll pass a little bit. And then, you'd get a $200 or $500 million client pop out of that, and they'd be like, And another one would pop out, and they'd say no. And after a while, and you start getting a couple $100 million, a couple billion, they're like, I think we should have said thank you, yes, and just rolled with it. So Fund Launch Partners, where I'm primarily working with, that was the evolution of being what they call a GP stakes fund. And a GP stakes fund basically invests into emerging managers.
Yeah.
And we have a kind of a niche where we see the emerging manager market that everybody knows is $2 billion or less. And that's a lot. That's calling like a sports car is anything with four wheels.
Yeah.
You're like, actually, it's not. It's a little more niche. So we started looking at it and realized Fund Launch produces micro funds. And these micro fund managers are usually from 10 million up to 50, maybe even 200 million.
Yeah.
So our GP
So it's almost like you're grooming
that.
them at different levels.
Exactly.
And one day, at some point, they hit the major leagues. Like, that's the goal.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. And there's vendor selection, there's information reporting, there's like costs associated legal and third party and audit that as a $20 million fund is not the same as a $200 million
Absolutely,
fund. And investors wouldn't expect that. But if you look historically through the returns, these early micro funds in their first and second and third fund, they outperform their peers by sometimes double-digit percentages in the same industry.
Wow.
And if you think about it, these are the guys that are proving themselves. They're taking,
they're hungry.
They're
hungry.
Really want to do it.
And
so
and not only are they hungry, but they're achieving. They're proving it.
Yeah. So our goal with Fund Launch is to democratize Wall Street, to get a lot of this money that's coming from huge allocators and portfolio allocations going from 20% in alternatives up to 40, 50, 60% of people's portfolios. So we know there's going to be a lot of alternative capital in the market, and it just seems like a shame that it goes right back up to Blackstone or some of these big allocators, because there's tons of fantastic alternative managers that might be atypical because they're just really good at assets, and we can bolt on the rest of the machine to say, you know what, you've been good with 5 or 10.
Keep doing what you're good at doing, and
exactly. Let's just add an extra zero to it. Let's help you build the machine that can pump out more assets more efficiently and quicker. And that's Fund Launch Partners.
What are you looking for in the managers? Like, give some of the attributes of what you're looking for.
Sure. So in our selection criteria, there's a couple of things that we see. The first one's that they've got probably 10 years of experience in the area they're launching a fund. Yeah. This isn't like a dentist who bought a couple buildings and he's like, 30 years a dentist? I think I'm a multifamily guy. We're like, maybe rethink that a little bit. So experience in where they're operating. The second one is they've got some kind of experience doing fundraising. They've borrowed money, they've went to investors, they know how to carry a conversation and talk about those returns. That's a very key one. The third one is just making sure they have a unique thesis. That competitive edge, if you think you're going into multifamily against KKR to buy big multifamily, you're going to get crushed. But if you've got a specialty niche in multifamily real estate that you're doing some kind of twist, or like industrial sectors, or we got a few guys that have some competitive oil and gas and energy sector plays.
Like if they found out a way to be competitive in their space or their niche, and you're like, what? They're doing what?
Exactly.
And they're getting what kind of? Wait a minute. How'd they think of that? Like if they, I got it.
That's exactly what. And the cool thing is, these are the asset managers that are more technical. They're more analytical. They're usually more niche specialty. And when you look at it and say, who do I want to trust my money with? Is it the big allocator that's got $500 million of assets, or the guy who actually goes out into Texas in the oil fields and is a geological engineer? At some point I'm like, if I could put it with the geologist, I'd totally put it with it. But he's not a fund manager. Well, he is now.
Interesting.
And we help enhance those guys' opportunities. So that competitive edge is really a key one. And the fourth one, it seems intuitive, but there's a lot of different specialties with a lot of mind frames and skill sets. So we look at it and say, you've got to be able to work with a team. And private equity
wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah. So if you have a single guy that comes and says, hey, I do assets, I raise funds, I'm an accountant in the back office, and I can cover all the administrative work.
So what do you need us for then?
Yeah, we're kind of like, that's a lot of... We just pick one. Let's find some other guys that help you out, but pick one, do it well, and let's see if we can round the others. So being able to work in a small group specialty team is actually one of the core requirements for us.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, Adam, I know there's a lot out here. You got to go do it at this conference right now. So our event, Jetson Capital. Last thing I want you to do, I want you to look at the camera and tell everybody how they can learn more and how they can follow up.
Sure. Well, we're always looking for additional fund managers that want to grow and develop faster. So the easiest way to reach out out to us is look us up on fundlaunchpartners.com, or you can also pull up on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram and follow us there. And we're more than happy to just bring you along for the ride, and we'd love to see more managers out there.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll definitely put those links in the show notes so that you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Adam, man, appreciate you coming on.
Awesome. Thank you, man.